And so we're back. Been a bit of a while. I mean, real life work has been pretty draining recently, and we kind of got to the end of the game cycle. But I am excited for FM21 right around the corner. More on that coming later. But it's careering onwards. We need to have a proper ending of some kind for this series. So last episode, we lost our second major final with England, losing the World Cup final to Spain. It wasn't a particularly great performance in the final, having been so great all the way to get to there. It's a shame how that went. And since then, well, what's happened? What's happened next? It's a bit further in the future, a year in the future, and you can probably work out from looking at the screen that things haven't gone particularly well from a club perspective either. I did do entire other season with Barcelona. As you can see there from the screen, we are now solely in charge of England, which suggests one thing regarding how that season went. We'll look at that in a minute. I did record it as about 6 or 7 episodes, but it wasn't a particularly enjoyable experience, and I thought rather than having to edit through all those, I just sum up what happens in this, because you'll get the main point of it from here. So as you can probably guess, we did get sacked in what was our final season in charge of Barcelona. It's not what we were looking for really, and I'm still not really entirely sure what happened. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's take a look at our transfers though, because I think we made some good moves that got the squad into a great position that for what would have been a great season. So I thought. 168 million brought in, 238 million spent, although most of that was as a sort of emergency punt, which we will get to. We sold a lot of players moving out. Mostly players who didn't really have much of a role. Fabio Silva, for example, get quite a bit of money for him. But players who did have quite a big role in the first team, Andres Flores, and the big one, Andre Alexandru, 60 million for him from PSG, and Alberto Valentim to Atletico Madrid, who I believe, he spent the previous season out on loan at Sampdoria. We didn't use him at all, but sold him to Atletico Madrid, the champions, of course, as they were, for 47 million. So we brought a lot of money in. We spent not much in the summer, not too much in the summer, and I basically knew what was going to happen, so I sort of just nuked the finances in January. But the summer additions, I thought, were pretty good. Fixed most of the issues we had with the squad. We brought Vinicius in from AS Monaco on a free, obviously controversial, former Real Madrid player, although didn't really stay at Real Madrid that long in this universe. But he's out on loan at Wolves, which shows you how well that one went. Not great, didn't do much. Unhappy that he wasn't playing particularly. With the other signings, this is kind of where the problem lay. I wanted a new right back because Trent Alexander-Arnold was getting quite old. The one I had been looking at for a very, very long time, Nahul Sanchez, we did manage to get 55 million from Real Sociedad, and well, he wasn't particularly good. Not dreadful, but a 7.19. I mean, he got 9 assists. That's really good. But compared to what I was hoping for, not great. Compared to some of the other fullbacks we've had in the save, particularly at Liverpool, not particularly great. I think maybe it's the work rate that was the issue. But anyway, he didn't do as much as I would have liked. Other signings were mostly sort of squad players. Murat Franken on loan from Bayern Munich. We brought back Adam Brunn, who we of course had at Liverpool and never really used. We signed him from Roma as a sort of backup option. He did okay. And then Orveta as well, similar kind of thing, just a squad option. He's not very happy, he didn't play. The one who I thought would be the sort of magic element was Raymond. I was hoping he was going to be like Bibby, like Lucas Paqueta before him, the sort of quality Brazilian attacking midfielder. He, again, wasn't awful. A 7.18 rating down there was 7.24 in the end, but 4 goals, 3 assists, not as good as it could have been. He's not Bibby, that's for sure. And maybe that was the thing, because things didn't go particularly well. We'll talk about this now. Carmelo Moreno, one of the best players in the world, signed from Manchester City for £164 million. Literally, this was a case of, as you'll see in a second, things were going terribly. I knew that I was going to get sacked at the end of the season, and that even if I didn't get sacked, I was going to be leaving. So I thought, we need to just go try and win the league. I don't care if I ruin the finances. Barcelona are going to probably be in serious jeopardy. Actually, what is the financial state of the club at the moment? Okay, finances. We basically ruined their finances for this guy who did not do much. He got injured pretty much the day we signed him. Only played 17 games, 2 goals, 3 assists for £164 million. I would say is a failure. He looks perfect as the left winger in the system. Didn't quite work out, and that's really the story of the season. Let's look at how the season went. I don't know how this happened. It started off so brilliantly, really strong start to the campaign. We dropped some points to Eibar, but not too bad. But then we're dropping points to Cadiz. This is kind of the issue. And then this was when things went terribly. We lost 3-0 to Levante. Levante were, I believe, I don't think they were bottom of the league, but they were certainly in the relegation zone at the time. We were destroyed. It was dreadful. Immediately lost the derby to Espanyol. Not what you want. Draw with Real Madrid kind of brought things a little bit onto an even keel. And we did have some much improved form. Good wins against Valencia. Good wins against Real Betis. Crushing Real Betis as well. And we did win the Supercup. We beat Real Madrid in the semi-final. And then we beat Atletico in the final before beating them in the league. Things were looking really good then. But then, unfortunately, we got knocked out of the Copa del Rey. No defence of our title there. And although we got revenge against Levante, it was just sort of a few scruffy results. Sociedad was a draw, which was actually quite a good performance, as you will see when we look at the league table. Some good wins against Sevilla. I mean, I was kind of optimistic at this point. We nearly got knocked out of the Champions League by FC Utrecht. That was scary. Moreno at least scored in that game. But then throughout this period, Real Madrid were just sort of relentlessly grinding out results, and this was what truly decided the title. 4 La Liga games in a row without a win, 3 draws against teams who, you know, it might be a good result to draw against them, but we need to be beating them. And then the big one there, the defeat to Real Madrid at home. That was it. And we did end the league with an excellent series of wins. We really, we got a good spirit going. 6 wins on the bounce, but the damage was done. And in the end, not only did we not win the league, but we finished in 4th, which is the worst performance Barcelona have had for a very long time. In fact, the worst performance they've had in the entire save. All that time I spent making fun of Gustavo Alfaro for not getting sacked, for not winning the league. I mean, to be fair, he spent 9 years. He won the league then in 2025. Didn't win the league after that. Spent 9 years failing to win the league. They've only given us 2 years. I think that's maybe a bit harsh, but then at the same time, no Barcelona manager has finished lower than 3rd as far as this graph is concerned. Never finished lower than 3rd. We finished in 4th. Again, unlucky, I think. We ended up 10 points behind Real Madrid. That's probably what's really done it. Atletico Madrid no longer champions. Their 1 year in the sun is over. We were 3 points behind them. The surprise package, though, Real Sociedad, who we bought their right back off them, they reinvested that money very well and ended up finishing 2nd, nearly winning the league themselves. So, I mean, it's been a theme of this save and this whole game for me is that we do actually do really well, but then all the other teams just do even better. 87 points isn't bad. It isn't bad. I mean, that's only 1 point worse off than the previous season. And then again we only lost the league by 4 points. And, if we go back a bit, okay, fine, it's not the kind of thing that would have won the league many years. Real Madrid were very, very dominant. But it's not terrible. In fact, it would barely ever have won a league. But there we are. So it didn't end well. Didn't end how we would want from a club perspective. But we are still in charge of England. And we have got the Nations League. We've made it to the Nations League. We didn't win the Euros, we didn't win the World Cup with England, but we are the defending champions in the Nations League, defeating Germany last time. Well, not last time the competition was held. We've got France in the semi-final, our former employers. I think that's probably a good game to end on, as well as the final as well. Probably just the goals, but a good place for us to end. We'll get to that shortly, and then after that we will just go through all our teams, see how things went right back from the start. Of course, we've just been sacked by Barcelona. We started out in charge of Cambridge United. It's been a long journey. We'll see how that went. Look at all the teams we were in charge of, all the trophies we won, and some of the players that have been highlights of the save for us. So it's good to see that they've sacked everyone. They've sacked all of my staff, apart from the assistant manager. He's still there, but then we've kind of had different assistant managers throughout the run. This man says Barcelona better off without me. Well, you're a joke, sir. You're an absolute joke. Not that I'm planning on continuing, but I just want to have a quick check at the jobs. We could go to Juventus, Zebra, a team who we've rejected at least once, maybe twice throughout the save. And also the Liverpool job's available, of course, our former club, and the favourite for the job is our former assistant manager at Borussia Monchengladbach. He's done quite well for himself. Done very well. He's in charge of FC Utrecht, nearly knocked us out of the Champions League. Now he's being tipped for Liverpool or Barcelona. Well, I mean, we've taught him well. Okay, so it's been a year. Not much has changed, although a lot of the old guard that have been staples of this team for a while have gone. Of course, Phil Foden retired after the World Cup final defeat. Jude Bellingham not in the squad. Trent Alexander-Arnold not in the squad as well. The only real players in the team, Reece James, still going, still relatively quick at 35, and of course really the star of the entire save in my view, Marcus Dewhurst, who is still in goal at the age of 34. Other players we're very familiar with: Vasquez, Panamorenko, Vincent Day. I've given in, and we are playing Adam Flint at right back. He has been doing that for 2 seasons at Real Madrid, so we just have to kind of go with it really. Grayson, Sully, these guys are world-class superstars. Alistair Skewes is in fact going to come into the Mazzala role rather than box-to-box, which we normally play him in. We'll see how that goes. We've got Lee Poole, the wonderfully named Lee Poole, who is at Liverpool. He's called Lee Poole and he's at Liverpool. What more to say? Wanted by most of Europe at the moment. Going to be interesting to see how he gets on in the squad. But a host of familiar names. Tony Sutherland, of course. Legends of the save. Let's see how we can do. I'll bring you the goals of this one, and then hopefully the final. If it's the third place playoff, we're not bothering. Plenty of familiar names in the France team as well. Jordan Richard, of course. Pierre Faucher at left back. Lefebvre. They've still got 2 real players in the starting lineup as well. Many familiar names throughout. Let's see if we can beat them. Can we at least win the Nations League? Again, we can't win anything. We can't win the Euros. We can't win the World Cup. At least as far as England's concerned, we did win them with France. But can we at least win the Nations League with England once again? Early chance for France, but nothing doing. Well, we've had a multitude of chances. We've absolutely dominated the game, so obviously we've gone behind to that. Gabriel Payan scoring. He's not offside. Otherwise, it wouldn't have counted. Yes. Just before half-time. Great stuff. 7 shots on target. 7 shots on target. And then they go and do that. What a typical way to end the save this would be. Right, time nearly up. We've made our way back into it. Panamorenko running through some of the old familiar names, getting the combinations going. And Alistair Skewes, we've moved him back into the box-to-box rail. That's where he needs to be. That's just where he needs to be. Lovely strike from him. 10 minutes on the clock, back on level terms. And that's how it ends, 1-1. Adam Cockbill missed an probably the best one-on-one I've seen in the entire game cycle this year. Shot straight at the goalkeeper. Of course he did, but we're going to motivate them. Extra time. Can we get over the line, or is it going to be another penalty shootout? Well, we got the advantage literally from the corner that you just started seeing as I was still talking. Comes in from Panamorenko, and his now Chelsea teammate Antonio Jesus Vasquez finds the net, as he's done so many times for England. It is 2-1. And you can put him at right back, it doesn't make any difference. He'll still find a goal when we need him to. Adam Flint doing all the work that he normally does in a more advanced position. 3-1. France are coming undone. And it's 4-1. It's a complete rout here in extra time. We were looking dead and buried. We have come back fighting. Sully across. Cockbill there. He scores this time. 4-1. We're going into the final. It's the Nations League final. But, you know, it's still a final. And there we go. Everyone's going to be tired now. Very tired. Are we going to fix that next year? I doubt it. I doubt it. I've asked Miles on Twitter twice if we're going to fix that in FM21. No response. No response. And in the final, we will play Germany again. It was Germany last time the Nations League final. It's a fitting way to end things off. The final game of the save. And everyone's surprisingly looking fresh. Goose is going to go back there. We'll play Newson there. It's fine. Let's just go. This is going to be the 996th game of my managerial career. Didn't quite make 1,000, but you know, que sera, sera. Let's go out there and end with a trophy, the third most important international trophy we can win out of 3, but at least it still counts. It's the lucky red kit again. We did beat them 4-2 in the last time we played in the Nations League final against the Germans again. And it's looking good to start things off. Junior Panamarenko, Alistair Hughes with the assist, 1-0 inside 10 minutes. And now it's 2. It's looking very good again. Flapping hands with the goalkeeper, and Adam Grayson cannot help but score 2-0. Why couldn't we have played Germany in the World Cup final? We beat them. We beat them in the Nations League all the time, but we lost the Euro final to Italy, I think it was. Yeah, Italy, and then we lost the World Cup final to Spain. Why couldn't we have just played Germany or France? Well, maybe I spoke too soon. They've got a goal back. Ragonovic firing past Dewhurst, 2-1 just after the break. But now we've restored the 2-goal lead, and it's Adam Grayson again, his second of the game. Definitely meant that one a bit more. 3-1. Looking very good. Or not, they just scored straight from the following highlight. Anastasiadis, a man I tried to sign multiple times when we were in charge of Bayern Munich. 3-2. I just wanted it to be simple. We were looking so good. It's that man again. It's 3-3. It's poor defending. They might not be defending, but at least they're on fire at the other end of the pitch. It's not Grayson, it's Phil Jeffrey, his centre-back partner. Fires home. It's 4-3, and is it done? I hope it's done. But why is there still more stuff happening? It's not 4-2, 4-3. Slight upgrade for the Germans. It could be 4-4 if we can't be sensible here. Cockbill's in. Can it be 5? Not quite. Into the final minute of our managerial career, I hope. I don't want penalties. Skews, who has been probably, as we've scored, it's 5-3, it's game over. Alistair Skews is probably the best player in the entire save who we have managed, who we've never actually had at a club level. I mean, Vasquez, arguably, who I've taken off here because he's been terrible, Cockbill scores. But yeah, I think in terms of all the players of the entire save who we have never managed at club level, Alistair Skews is the best one. And he's sealed that one for us right there. England 5. Germany 3. It's not the European Championships or the World Cup, but hey, it's another trophy with England. They all count. They all count, and that is a good way, as good a way as any, for us to end things off. Beating Jurgen Klopp's Germany by 5-3. Job done. So there we go. I mean, you know, we got sacked by Barcelona, but really, who cares? Because England, they're delighted by me. They are delighted. We've won the trophy 2 times in a row. Surely no one would have expected us to triumph again, it says. Well, there we are. There we are. And there we are going to end things with a review. Let's have a look and see. It's been quite a long ride. This has been the longest save I've ever managed. I mean, it's only 15 years or 16 years, but still, for me, it's been a long time. It's been a very successful career, surprisingly successful. 996 games played, didn't quite make 1,000, but 686 wins, 170 draws, and only 140 losses. 2,020 goals scored, a goal difference of 1,418. Brilliant stuff. 68 win percentage, 24 cups, 6 leagues, 3 promotions, no relegations. I will take that all day long. 6 jobs at a club level, 5 at a national level. 87 players bought, 124 sold for a value of £1.13 billion. Can I get that in a cheque, please? That would be nice. We've made 114 million. Where do I get that from? Where do I get that from? So, of course, on this absolute mess of a screen, we will just review our lengthy and successful time as a manager. Of course, we started all the way back down in League Two. It feels a long time ago now, with Cambridge United, and had a very, very good time of it. We finished third, of course, in our first season at the club, getting promoted. We then ran away with League One in the following season, winning Manager of the Year, and then the year after we left them third in the Championship. They did manage to stay up, but then it's been a bit of a sinking time for them since then, as we've moved on to other things. But I mean, they've more or less recovered. They are back in League One now. 17th place finish from this season. A stable League One side. Didn't last anywhere near as long as I was hoping they would in the Championship. When we left, went back down to League Two. But now, they're surviving in League One, which is good to see. Let's remind ourselves of some of their play. This is the overall best 11, and there's two names that stand out for me from our time there. 3 names, in fact. Of course, one of the stars of the save, Mr. Adam Ida, or Ida, which I think is how it's actually said. Of course, in real life, a player at Norwich City, still breaking into the first team there for them now, and a player we'll be seeing hopefully quite a lot of in FM21 as well. More on that later on. But yeah, he had a brilliant time for us on loan at Cambridge. Fantastic goal record, particularly in League One. 31 goals in that League One season. Really good stuff. As soon as we left, they stopped playing him, and his career sort of went downhill. We brought him back at Monchengladbach for a bit of fun. Did score a goal in that, and then he's had an incredibly eclectic career. Some loans in the second tier of Germany, Russia for a long time, Denmark now. He's still going. I think he's had a fun time. Other players of note, of course, George Maris retired, had some time at MK Dons and Coventry, but spent a long old time at Cambridge. 404 games for Cambridge United. Well done, sir. Lloyd Jones is in here as well. He retired in 2030, having been at Cambridge. Was a very solid player for us in defence in our time there. Let's see if there's anyone else sort of really we want to... I mean, Jack Rolls, the first player we wanted to sign but couldn't sign. But yeah, those were the key guys. No, hang on. No, we nearly missed out. One of the keyest men of all, Mr. Callum Burton, another star of the save. He is currently a scout with some truly shocking attributes. Maybe give up on that one, Callum. But for us, we had him at Leicester as well as our backup goalkeeper, and he was a very solid and reliable figure between the sticks. So of course we were also in charge of Venezuela. We won't dwell on that because that was pretty disastrous. But we did leave Cambridge and Venezuela to take over at Denmark, and the main thing we're going to look at, of course, Leicester City. That was the second major stop on our journey. Sean Dyche now in charge, captained by Paolo Felicio, a man who we signed when he was a 17, 18-year-old. Barely used him ourselves, but he's done very well for himself at the King Power. Lots of goals, not quite as many as that one season there, but still pretty consistent figure for them. In the Championship, again, what's happened, boys? We got them back into the Premier League, having found them relegated to the Championship. Really good finish, 7th place finish. They've actually finished 5th since then. But of course, they immediately got relegated the year after we left, didn't they? Immediately got relegated. Came back straight away, though, and looked fine, but then they got relegated last season. And have they been promoted by the playoffs? No, they haven't. They finished 3rd, and they're going to be in the Championship again. So I mean, at least they're not in League One, I suppose. At least they are not in League One. We, of course, won the Championship with them. That was a good time. Had that brilliant 7th place finish as well. And some fantastic players we had at the time along the way. Of course, some of them in the overall best 11 still. We didn't have Pereira. I think he'd already been sold by the time we got there. But we did have Hamza Chowdhury. He was very, very reliable in that box-to-box role. Went on to play for Everton. Dennis Pratt as well. Very solid player for us in our midfield. This was the year we took over. And then the first full year we had in charge, of course, Sebastiano Esposito, still going at Inter Milan. Look at his goal record. As good as you would expect him to be. But he only became that quality of player because of those 2 years we had him on loan at Leicester in the Championship and then in the Premier League. He hadn't really played much. That was season 4 of the save. So he barely played in the first 3 seasons. He had a loan spell at Cremonese, which didn't really go very well. So we really kick-started his career. And since then, he has been absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to take full credit for that one. Trincao as well was decent. Adam Webster was a really great pickup from South Korea. He ended up in South Korea for some reason, got him for barely anything, and was incredibly reliable. We did have Pereira. We did manage to keep Pereira. That's good to see. Locatelli as well, of course. Josh Tyman, Neil Etheridge, some solid names. And then, of course, we left Leicester to take charge of Borussia Monchengladbach, which was just sort of one of a variety of options. I kind of think we probably should have just stayed at Leicester for another year. Not that it was bad. They've had a terrible season last year, finished in 12th, finished in 15th this year. Dreadful. Why is it we leave clubs and they become terrible? I guess that says a lot about us. But we finished in 2nd with them. That was really good. The best finish they have had in the league for a very long time. Up to that point, and clearly, evidently, since that point as well. We did not win anything with them. It was a single season, but it was quite a fun one. What was it? The 24-25. So let's have a look at the old best 11 for that one. Oh yeah, we had Callum Hudson-Odoi, of course, Breland Bolo, Zakaria, Guendouzi. We brought Timon with us from Leicester as well. Some decent players, some good names. Cracknell as well, but it wasn't. It was a one season, not blunder and not wonder, just a sort of one season of nothing. Now, before we get to Liverpool, we were also, of course, then by that point, well, actually, yeah, after we left Mönchengladbach, we did become the manager. Actually, no, it was before, wasn't it? It was while we were still at Leicester. We became the manager of France, which came out of left field. We've just beaten them earlier on in the episode, but we had our greatest successes when we were in charge of the French national team. We, of course, won the World Cup and we won the European Championships as well as the Nations League. It was really a great time. Of course, made possible by managing some of the best players in the world. I mean, Kylian Mbappe, of course, a star. Where did he end up? Is he still going? He's still at PSG. He's still got 11 pace at the age of 36. Still, I mean, just brilliant player for us. We managed a lot of the real-life stars as well. Paul Pogba, Tanguy Ndombele, people like that for a lot of their time. And then brought through some regens, most of whom we ended up using at our club, who were the main point of the save. The main team, our greatest success. And that, of course, was Liverpool. It was a wonderful time. We won absolutely everything there was to win. The Premier League 3 times, the Champions League 3 times, FA Cup, I think 4 times, League Cup a couple of times as well, Community Shield. It was a wonderful experience, and a lot of the boys we had are still here in the squad. Let's just briefly run through some of these guys. I mean, the overall best 11 tells its own story, really. One notable absentee from that, but Mohamed Salah, just in his twilight years, absolutely phenomenal. The amount of assists he got in his penultimate season was staggering. Jordan Richard became a real favourite. Started a little bit slowly, but it became absolutely sensational. Salvador, of course, who we had at Barcelona too. Just an absolutely solid base of that midfield. And Pierre Foucher, an absolute superstar, learning alongside Virgil van Dijk. He became one of the best centre-backs in the world, liked to go to the nightclub, but still was exceptionally good. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, what can you say about this man? We took him to Barcelona. It didn't quite go how we would like, but he was absolutely phenomenal throughout his entire career. And then this man too, Marcus Dewhurst, still number one for England. Considering I basically signed him as a... his release clause at Leicester was 9.5 million. Basically signed him as a backup because he was English, and little did I know I'd signed the best goalkeeper in the entire world. A string of... I mean, the ratings are rubbish because goalkeeper ratings are always rubbish, but his performances basically won us league after league, Champions League after Champions League, often single-handedly, and we absolutely thank him for that. Virgil van Dijk, a huge player for us as well. Marko Vujovic, now at Real Madrid, an absolute megastar. Could be terrible, often very, very good. Frankie de Jong, again, and I mean, we had so many world-class players towards the end of their careers who were still absolutely sensational. Lucas Paqueta as well. And the main man not mentioned by this is Colin Nicholson, who, for some reason, despite winning the Ballon d'Or, the lad from Scotland, where was he born? Castle Douglas in Scotland, winning the Ballon d'Or a couple of times. He was probably the star of the save, really, wasn't he? Probably the star of the save. We signed him at Liverpool, and he didn't do well in the first season, did really well in the subsequent ones, went to Barcelona. We later joined him, and he had a fair share of injuries. 23 goals in his final season for us, though, I think was pretty good. And it's fair to say that apart from England, really, since we left Liverpool, things didn't go particularly well. Brazil didn't go well, really, at all. Bayern Munich, we did eventually win the Bundesliga, but we only won it once. Wasn't particularly great. Barcelona, well, the less said about that, the better, really. But England, at least, we did have a fantastic time. As we saw earlier, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a ride, but it has been, I think, overall, really quite fun. I'm going to leave I hate this. I hate the way this screen's formatted. It's not very good. We'll go to milestones. There we go. We'll go to milestones. We'll leave it on landmarks. There you go. There you go. You can't see Cambridge, but yeah, you know, we just went through it. Biography, it's very long. We'll leave it on that. We'll end it on that. So there we go. That is it. That's the end of Careering Onwards. Thank you very much for watching. If you have indeed done so throughout the entire time, leave a like, subscribe, get ready for FM21. What are we going to do? I might do a video on it about what my plans are. Probably not going to have time. If you want me to, leave a comment. I'll think about it. Basically, if I don't have time, we're going to be doing Chelsea again for the beta because we've signed loads of players, and I think, why not? It's a good sort of counterpoint to where we were last season. We didn't have any ability to sign new players because we had a transfer ban, of course. And then the main save, as I have mentioned before, but I will now say completely clearly, will be with Norwich City, but we will only be allowed to sign British and Irish players. That's it. That's all we're allowed to sign. Nothing else. Yes, Dr. Benji did briefly do that as a Twitter save. I'm not saying he stole my idea, but, you know, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you, hopefully, maybe even this week. Who knows when the beta is going to come out? Maybe Friday, maybe the following week. We'll have to wait and see. But I will be here. We'll be starting off with Chelsea, and if nothing else, I will be able to throw a water bottle at Timo Werner if he's not scoring. So that's something to look forward to.